What is happening, fellow pioneers of human transportation? This should be a fun video. So I've told you before on the channel that I'm slowly learning how to become a PEV mechanic. At this stage, I feel like I'm competent enough to work on most standard brakes, zoom brakes, nut brakes, and similar brakes. So I'm starting very slow. Now, Chris is bringing me his scooter. It has one major problem where his right front caliper is going completely dead, completely soft. Occasionally, does not exactly know why. His left brakes, I think, are fine. They just need to be bled and tightened. So this is me receiving Chris's scooter, doing my best with it. I wasn't really able to solve the problem with the right front caliper. I think he just needs to actually replace that caliper. It's only 50 bucks for the caliper if he wants to buy the same thing. He's also talking about some upgrades. We talk about that in this episode. But this video is not a tutorial. It's really just a little bit about my journey in becoming a PEV technician, something I would like to do professionally one day for real. Thanks for your support, guys. I could not do this without you. You either, baby dog. See you soon. Here we go. Fixing Chris's scooter. I have no idea what type of vehicle Chris is coming up here in. Oh, he's waving at me. So this must be him. Hey, what's going on, man? I figured you must have had a kind of a bigger vehicle. You know what you can do is, here, you know what you do? We'll get you off the hill. You see this driveway in here? Just pull into there, Chris, okay? Right here, you'll see, right here. Just follow me, right? Yeah. I've never met you before, right?
Chris, yeah, how are you?
Have you been to a ride or anything?
No,
Okay, all right, man. It's good to meet you in person.
Yeah, good to meet you
Let's
too.
take a look at it. What city do you live in? Where'd you come in from?
I'm in the Valley. I'm in Reseda.
Oh, like Daniel. You know what that joke means, by the way? You're a young guy. You might not even know this. Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid, you know? Yeah, I mean, this isn't really that bad the way it is, but you're saying this bottoms out sometimes?
It completely goes dead, yeah. So, like, on occasions, it'll completely...
What's your left one like?
It's okay.
It's a little low.
I don't hate it.
At best, we'll just fucking really... What I like to do is just have them, like, day one, so, like, when you barely move the lever, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And then over time, it works its way down because the pad goes.
Okay.
Let me just ride this thing a little bit. Oh, yeah. I mean, performance-wise, this is kind of how the brakes are. As long as you can like stop on a dime, but I'll tighten them up all the way. This one on the right is just basically soft, but you're saying that, have you gotten to the point where, did they give it to you at any point where it was like even better than this one, where you barely just trigger it and it hits?
No,
it was never like that?
I brought it back to them and I asked them to do that. Basically like the dead pull on the lever has always been...
The right front line is usually actually easier, you know, because it's less distance from the lever to the, turn this thing off. I've learned the hard way to always turn this fucking thing off.
I haven't seen any...
You would know if it's leaking because it would be like slippery and shit.
I apologize, it's super dirty.
Oh, you should see. I never clean my scooter. And my joke is, I don't clean my scooter. I wait till I bring it to my mechanic. I let him clean it. Yeah. And then, because I never clean my scooters either. Okay, I'll get this back to you in a day. What were you gonna ask me?
Can you use Ryan from the...
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Ryan does everything. Yeah. He's, you know, I got him his start basically on my channel. We're best friends now.
Okay, nice.
I mean, yeah. So I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
And anything, like if I couldn't, like when you want something, like if you want, I might be able to install Maguires on these, but I can't do the brake connector switch yet, but he can do that. Yeah. So maybe if you want one.
I talked to him about it, it was like $800 for the install.
For this?
Yeah.
That's the thing is, I have to talk to him about that, because that's what it costs when you put it on a Dualtron, is they need custom brackets.
I see.
And when you go to him, you're just going to like the most expensive option possible. That's too expensive. You know, that's for a guy, that's for like, especially at this price point, if you paid $2,600 for this, $2,900. That's very fucking expensive, but it is like a half a day's labor or more. But who knows? Maybe I'll be able to put them on them for you for like $350 or something like that. I'll give you a sick deal. Yeah. I don't know how to bleed the Maguire lines yet, so I have to learn about that. I'm buying a pair just to work on, but these I've worked on a million times. So, all right, at worst case scenario, you got at least new pads. If I put new pads in there, I know that's gonna help you a little bit. Yeah. But at 160 miles, you shouldn't have any pad problems. So you want to just come back like in a day, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow's fine. And we'll look at it. I'll ride it around a little bit. And we'll see what we can do. Alrighty, man. All right, well, Chris, it's good to meet you. Yeah, you can just pull right out of here. You're all set. So this is pretty much how I actually do sit on the floor and work on scooters. And I happen to keep like every tool I would need in here to take the caliper off, because brakes are something you have to be able to work on the road. Even though I have a light behind me, it's not really that good of a light. So check this out. There, how do you like this? See that? Boom. A little bit nervous, kind of like working on somebody else's vehicle. I'm really going to do everything like one step at a time. I mean, luckily, this is a vehicle that I can't imagine there's anything that I don't know about. So he's having trouble with his front brakes. I don't know if you heard when he was describing to me what was going on with the vehicle. He's got a situation where the brakes are fine, and then the lever goes all the way down for whatever reason. There's something wrong with it. So where's the right fucking piece here? All right, so first we're gonna look at the brake pads. I mean, that's the culprit in just if the brakes are not good. Whether or not I'm replacing these brake pads doesn't matter. They got to come out anyhow for the bleed. So it's pretty easy taking the brake pads out. I mean, doing your own brakes is pretty easy. I can't do this for a customer and charge them for it, but I wouldn't charge them much. I can do your brakes in I can do brake pads in under a half an hour, front and back probably. I'm working with a couple of different bleed kits. So that way I always have like every component that I need. So the first thing I need to do is put the brake blocker into this. So this is not going to be a tutorial. What I did was I put the vehicle up on a rack. I already test rode it outside with Chris. He told me what's wrong with it. I feel like his brakes are probably 90% as good as they're going to get anyhow. His rear brakes, they're normal for a couple hundred miles use. The handles are a little soft, but I'm going to bleed the lines, add oil if I need to, make it a little bit tighter. And I've never seen a problem like that with the right line, where the line is fine and then suddenly gets soft. So I'll do the same thing to the right side. I'll just bleed the line, add oil if necessary, and just make sure the caliper, the rotor, and everything is in good shape, especially make sure he's got good pads. All right, so I think this is about as good as these brakes get. Left brake, good. Right brake, pretty good. Both brakes. I think this is as good as it gets. Yeah. Not perfect, but pretty good. So I did everything I could do to this scooter. I bled the lines, I checked the rotor, I checked the caliper, I hand adjusted the caliper so when you spin the wheels, there's no noise. It's basically perfect. And I couldn't find anything wrong with the left brake line. I don't really know why it's suddenly going soft. I actually have a feeling it's just a product of these types of brakes. They're not super high-end brakes. You can buy a pair of these brakes for under $100. I think until Chris wants to upgrade his brakes, he's going to get some Maguras eventually. The installation on Maguras can be really expensive because it takes custom brackets. So he's not sure if he's going to do that or not. But I might recommend he try some of the 4-piston zoom or nut calipers that are coming out. Maybe I'll have my mechanic Ryan teach me how to do the necessary soldering. Because if you want to add brakes, I can add brakes to a scooter, but not with the motor cutoff wire, and that's just for my own personal use. I'm not going to do that for somebody else. So if this customer wants to add brakes, I need to learn how to basically solder the motor cutoff wire properly because it's not plug and play. That might be a good job to bring down to Ryan, and he can kind of teach me in the shop. I plan on going down to Ryan's shop as often as I can to practice with him and work on a variety of vehicles. I hope to one day be a real PEV technician, but I have a feeling I have a multi-year journey in front of me. I mean, it took me years just to feel like I'm good enough at brakes to charge for it. But, you know, this is a good experience. I think I'm starting very, very small, very, very carefully, working on vehicles that I'm familiar with. So I think I'm giving this vehicle back to Chris, the customer, at least a little bit better than the way he started with it. But I think if Chris wants better, he's probably going to have to upgrade his brakes. So it's fun working on somebody else's scooter. To be honest with you, I take it as a big responsibility. And I'm not going to charge Chris a ton of money because I told him I'd make a video out of it. And there's a little bit of money in the video. And I'm going to make a series of me. So before I give this vehicle back to a customer, back to Chris, I got to take it out and test it a little bit. I can already tell, I can hear the rear rotor needs to be hand adjusted a little bit. But let me just make sure these brakes are safe and I can really stop us. Oh yeah, that's what we want. As long as I can lock up the back tire at speed going downhill, I feel like these brakes are about as good as they're gonna get. So just a little more testing. Whoa, he almost got nailed. A little more testing Chris's vehicle. I'm pretty comfortable to give this back to him. Yeah, the brakes are, this is as good as the brakes are gonna get, Chris. I just don't see these kind of inexpensive brakes working any better than this. The right handle is pretty good. The left handle is very good. It can stop the scooter. It's not making any noise. All right, this is about as good as it's gonna get. Guys, don't forget, if you need brake work, bring your scooter to me. I'll look at it. I'll do my best with it. Don't be afraid to hit me up, guys. Thanks for your support, and make sure you subscribe, like the video, leave comments, ask questions. And, I'll see you all later.